Big story coming in through from Ineos, and they've gone ahead to meet Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick, who came in through from Russia, and he was promised to be the head of consultants at the club of Man United, such that everyone that was gonna do something football-like was supposed to obviously go ahead and really consult from him. After having gone ahead to obviously downplay all the works that John Mata had gone ahead to do, he fell out with the club of Man United because John Mata was gonna lose his job. And now this time round, when Ineos came in through and really recognized that this guy is really incompetent at what he's doing, they went ahead and obviously met Ralf Rangnick to see to it that they obviously get briefed on what should be the solution at the club of Manchester United. Welcome to this channel. It's the United Matters channel. How are you guys? And where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And we're also going to talk about the new expected CEO of Man United in what has just gone ahead to happen as he's being convinced to obviously join the club of Man United. And lastly, we are going to discuss something concerning Sir Jim Ratcliffe on his way of really appointing the head of recruitment to work with Dean Ashworth and what the plans are like for the club of Man United. It's really very important to note that it's a Saturday, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. This is your YouTube channel that brings you your latest news and information as far as everything is concerned, and I go by the names of Rock and David. And thank you for obviously keeping it this channel. We love you. That's why we are always here to obviously give you the best that you guys really want. Now, we thank God for the gift of life, yeah? The Muslims, Barakallahu Fikum. So, let's start it off with a story coming in through from a guy that is literally known for really giving us updates, but is known as NJB, you know? He has told us that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir David Brailsford met Rangnick to discuss the issues at Man United before their performance review was underway. So, Man United went ahead to obviously see Ineos take over, and their minority stake of 25% of the club is set to be announced and made official after the FA and the Premier League have gone ahead to give them approval. What they did, they've gone ahead obviously meet Ralf Rangnick and obviously had a talk with him, because this guy was recruited as a consultant. For the months he was at the club of Man United, trust me, he got to know a lot and what went ahead to face the club of Manchester United. And his statements will always be remembered. After losing, I think it was 4-0 to Liverpool, he was in the press conference and said this club is rotten and it needs what we call an open heart surgery. And he said Man United should get 8 to 9 players out and get in 7 to 8 players in who have the right mentality and the intensity that can match the levels of the demands of the new game of football. It will remember that when he came through the club of Man United, he used to want his players to train until 5 p.m. and they said they wouldn't obviously train like that. But you saw to it that when Erik Ten Hag came in through, they train until the evening. So it shows you that the mentality was not right, and Ten Hag is going to hit to recruit players that have going to hit to bring in. And when you look at the number of players that he talked about them leaving Man United, I think it is almost there, but I think even more should leave. Ever since Erik Ten Hag came in through, the following players have gone ahead to leave: Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard, Cavani, Cristiano Ronaldo, Juan Mata, Twanzebe, Fred Rodriguez. Who else has gone ahead to leave? You know, David De Gea has left. Those are 8. Alex Telles has left. Those are 9. So, and others that you can come, but Elanga has left. Yet Elanga was Rangnick's favorite. So he called in for what we call an open heart surgery. And I think Erik Ten Hag single-handedly has tried to do that, but he lacked competent people at the job. Now, Ineos, before making the final dossier of their performance review, they had to meet this guy. When they met him, a lot really went ahead to happen. And that a lot resulted into United making a decision on who they're supposed to bring. And the head of recruitment has not yet been known, and you never know. This guy can obviously be made the head of recruitment, because he would love to work under a sporting director that is really good, and he brings in his experience, because he is best known for really scouting players that are going to obviously make it high in as far as the English Premier League is concerned and the top European leagues are concerned. When he was at Man United, he pointed at them, he spotted them, and United couldn't obviously make a move to obviously sign these players. The list was headed by Enzo Fernandez, Conrad Lema, Julian Alves, Enzo Fernandez, Conrad Lema, Michele, Akanji, Zakaria. He had made a list of players that were really cheap to get, and the most expensive one to buy was Enzo Fernandez for 30 million euros. You get? When he crossed to Benfica, Chelsea had to pay him for 120 million euros. So it shows you how this guy was good and how he knows who the next talent is going to be and how big it's going to be. And I think at a time X, he'll come back and work with Man United. He loved the club, and he loved what the fans really did for him and what he went ahead to really say about the club. When you know exactly what this guy brings, you really anticipate that at the point X, Ineos will obviously want to bring him in. And I know, because his team qualified for the Euros, he'll tell them that if you want me to obviously do this job, I have to first play the World Cup qualifiers. And I think his job will be there. And that head of consultancy, I think, is a new department that the game of football needs to obviously put a lot of attention onto, because it's needed badly to see to it that it shapes teams into the best way that they deserve to be. So this guy is really one of those that is going to hit to make records and build a lot of systems, Gengen pressing, the 4-2-2 system, and he is really the pioneer of very many things in the game of football. He's called a football professor, and he's now the manager of, is it Austria? Yeah. And he's going to hit to see his team qualify for the Euros, and he's going to be managing it down in Germany, in his home country where he was born and bred, and he's really a professor. So I think at a point X, they'll obviously go ahead and really get some consultations from him, because he's a very good football consultant and he can really get you what you don't want to hear. You know, if you want him to tell you what you want to hear, don't approach him, because he'll always tell you what you don't want to hear, as he did to the board of Man United when he was the interim manager. He faced the media and told them that the team of United is really having players who are not good enough to come in through and really represent this team. And later, we've gone ahead to see to it that an assessment has been made by the club of Man United, and this guy known as Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in, and a lot of players are going to lose their jobs. Most of them should take pay cuts. If they don't take pay cuts, they're going to leave the club of Man United. That's what Ineos is really working on, to see to it that they can raise a huge budget to get in players that can see United compete for all trophies, the Champions League and the Premier League as up. That is it. So that is it. Ineos has gone ahead to meet Rangnick, and he has gone ahead to give them his honest story about the club of Man United, and we wait the outcomes of this. But United are really working to bring in Dean Ashworth, and you've gone ahead to really get to know that very well, that they're really working hard to get him in. Now, we are having another story coming in through from Peter Hall. He's a freelance journalist for the router Sky Sports, and then Mark Douglas for the iPaper Sport. He has told us that Sir David Brailsford's role in persuading Omar Berrada to complete a sensational move from Man City to become the new Manchester United CEO has given the club renewed belief they can attract any senior figure from any club. Obviously, what they did was what we call a big man move, because when you really do that big man move, all what is left for you is to really point at anyone you want and will come into the club of Man United. Now, Dan Ashworth is one of those that United are really wanting in as the new director of football. Described as one of the best in the game, as far as England has going to produce the best directors of football. He worked with the England national team, and they went in for the World Cup 2018, and he made a decision that they should go in with young players, and they went ahead and played until the semi-finals. So it shows you that he's really good at recruiting and sporting talent. So he's now on the verge of coming to Man United, and Berada is one of the reasons as to why he really wants to come in through, because they know competency people, and you know iron sharpens iron. So if you get in a quality person, it's very easy for him to convince other quality people to come into the club of Man United, and we just can't wait for an announcement that Dan Ashworth has agreed a deal to come in through and really join the club of Man United. Then Alex Crook, Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to appoint a head of recruitment to work with Dan Ashworth at Man United. Now, the head of recruitment is really going to be very, very important, because that's the new structure of any game of football. And I think if Ralf Rangnick was not really working with Austria and he promised them to take them to the Euros, he would have gone ahead to obviously take that role. But you never know, because the Euros start in June and really end in July. He might obviously say, I can come in through and obviously be the head of recruitment, because I read a story recently that Paul Mitchell, one of those that they consider to be the head of recruitment, has gone ahead to communicate to the club of Man United that he's not ready to be the head of recruitment for the club of Man United, meaning that they need to look elsewhere to get in a person that can do the job. I think this guy, with his vast knowledge that he's Rangnick, I could obviously get him that position, and I think he'll take it, because he knows to it that if you're the head of recruitment, you have to obviously sit with the sporting director, CEO, and the manager to obviously draw the structure of the club with his huge knowledge, and we tell them that this and this, there is a good player here, there's a good player here, because what he did when he was the interim manager, he had recruited players of pure quality that couldn't obviously exceed 100 million euros. Julian Alves, 20 million euros. You get? Konrad Laimer could come in for 20, that is 40. Enzo Fernandez, 30 million euros, that is 70. Zakaria was for 5, because his contract was going to run out in the summer. The other guy that he talked about was Akanji. Akanji came in through at Man City for like 18 million euros. You know, he had scouted 5 quality players that are really performing well at a high level at 100 million euros. That is what they call the head of recruitment. Look at Man City. They went ahead and brought in Julian Alves. Now, how much is Julian Alves worth? He's worth like 120 million pounds. How much is Akanji worth? You know, Akanji is now worth like 80 or 70 million euros. Yet they got him for like 18 million euros only. So it shows you that he is the best head of recruitment that we can look at, but I don't know what they're going to do. But I think they're looking at getting in the director of football. After getting the director of football, they look at the head of recruitment. But I won't be shocked if at all Ralf Rangnick has been convinced to obviously join the club of Man United. You know, after John Mata is gonna be relieved of his duties in the near future. So guys, your thoughts on Rangnick holding talks with Ineos are welcome in the comment section below. And what do you make about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's David Brailsford looking in through to get in other people? Dan Ashworth, director of football and head of recruitment. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The Muslims Barakallahu Fikum, right? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because we want to hit 17,000 subscribers before the end of this month. And you guys are really great. We love you, and let's see close to 100 likes in this video. I think this is the last video of the day. Early morning, we are coming in through with more and more stories that will entice you and intrigue you. Rock and David is my name. Initials are ready.